Hello and welcome, friends, to another episode of Vintage Fountain Pens. This time it will be a special episode where I will talk about and I will share with you my collection of Italian fountain pens. And these are the fountain pens. I will start with the models that I have from the 1930s. And I will start my short presentation with desk fountain pen. I bought it initially with this marble desk stand. As you see, we have Ipofosfiti Guidotti, and this is an Italian firm that still exists in our time. And I presume that this set, which contains this beautiful fountain pen, desk fountain pen, in this beautiful celluloid. And I hope you can see because I am filming this video at a direct sunlight, natural sunlight, because I want you to see the beautiful material of the celluloid. This is a button filler. It unscrews and it has this button. You push it and the inner sac fills with ink. As you see, the ending is made out of this hard rubber, and I know it is a hard rubber material because in time it developed this brown patina. So this is the desk stand. It was made specially for this firm, and my belief it is that it is an Omas product, although it is imprinted forever fountain pen. You may ask yourself, why forever fountain pen on an Italian product? And the answer is that in the 1930s, it was a trend for firms to have English speaking names because the English products were considered far superior. And this is my desk set. You can see it has this ball sphere that rotates. I can arrange it at what angle I want. Even I can push it till almost a vertical position. Okay, this is a set from the 1930s, and I told you that I presume that this set or was made by Omas. Okay, we have a little shadow, so I will put it here. Next, I have a rather interesting fountain pen, and the most expensive fountain pen in my collection of Italian fountain pens, but also one of the most beautiful piece in my collection. And this time the sun doesn't do it justice. It is a beautiful celluloid material. It has some green, some gray, and of course we have imprinted here. It is an Omas Extra, a beautiful Omas Extra. You can see that they have lots of elements that remind us of the Wall Eversharp Doric model from the 1920s America. But it is a beautiful Italian masterpiece from 1932. Just look at this nib. This is a beautiful nib, and if I'm not mistaken, it is a flexible nib, as you can see. Beautiful nib. And by the way, it is a lever filler. So a fountain pen like this costs between, at today's market in 2020 August, between 700 and 1,000 euros. So quite an expensive fountain pen. Let's leave also this aside and let's continue. We are talking about the 1930s. When you first look at this fountain pen, you think of the American duofold or the Shepherd flat top. And you are right, because lots of elements were inspired by the American design. And speaking of the producers, we have the Scotland pen self-filling. Again, an English sounding name, because at the beginning of the 1930s, there was a trend to name products after foreign names, especially English names that were considered to make products of high quality. But this time, the Italian producer has gone one step further and it has imprinted the nib, and I want to show it. So, the Scotland 14 carat, and attention, made in England. So, interesting detail. This is not a pen made in England for sure. And this particular brand, it was manufactured either by Monte Grappa or by Omas. And you can see the beautiful celluloid. Indeed, in time, because we are dealing with button filler, in time, the sec ink corroded due to the action of the acidic ink, and it has affected the celluloid material. It developed in time this brownish or caramel look like patina, but not only patina, but the material was affected because the original material is what you see on the cap. By the way, on the cap we also have Scotland 18KR. And another interesting element of this fountain pen, you probably noticed that we don't have a symmetry, and for sure the blind cap over here was placed. It should have also a flat ending, this fountain pen. Although in America there are fountain pens, especially on the Shepherd product range, the Shepherd flat top, when it went through a design change at the end of the 1928, where the famous cigar balance model came. Some models had a transitional ending, like this one. They had the flat top and the ending was in a form of a cigar. Of course, the balance line had the ending of a cigar and the ending of the cap also in this dome shape. So another product of the early 1930s with another English spoken name. You must know that because of the influence of the fascist party in Italy, at the end of the 30s, many firms that had English sounding products had to adopt Latin words that evoked the nationalism and the greatness of the old Roman Empire. So you know that the fascists had this national side to them. They were quite proud of their history, and Mussolini was the same in promoting the values of old Roman Empire, and it preferred to see Latin words instead of English words on famous products. Let's move on, and I have for you a product from the Settino Torinese area near Turin. You will hear this name quite often because, by a pure coincidence, I've gathered in my collection quite a few, let's say, obscure or not so well known Italian brands. This fountain pen, this beautiful, beautiful fountain pen, also in celluloid, it is a Verbana product. It has also a blind cap and button, the push button filler mechanism. We unscrew the cap and we can see, let's zoom on it, we can see a 14 karat Verbana gold nib. This is an interesting fountain pen. Let's see if we have some flex to it. No flex in comparison with the early Omas from the 1930s, but still a wonderful made fountain pen in this beautiful celluloid. And speaking about celluloid materials, here we have another Verbana, but this time from the 1940s. And we have this interesting semi-hooded nib that reminds us of the Parker 51, but quite functional filling piston filling mechanism. This type of filling mechanism was surely influenced by the German fountain pen industry. So another Verbana with the same interesting shape, but this time from the 1940s. Okay. Now I have another desk fountain pen. Unfortunately, I don't have the original desk stand for this Omas Extra fountain pen. On this model, you will notice the beautiful gold nib, and I want to focus. So Omas 585, and I want to show you, look at the flexiness of this nib. Of course, we have another piston filler. We simply turn the knob here, and you can see that the piston filler is going in. On this particular model, I missed the end cork, and this is from the early 1950s, and I presume it had a plastic cork and not a wooden cork. This is just a supposition of mine. Of course, I couldn't pass the opportunity to buy this fountain pen, and I got it for approximately 50 euros, which was a great deal due to this nib. Only this nib can cost you 50 euros. A beautiful gold nib. Let's leave this aside, and I will move on through some fountain pens in the 50s, and this is the famous Aurora 88, and it certainly resembles the design of the famous Parker 51. And to be more exact, this is, let's see if we can zoom on it. This is the model 888P, Aurora 888P. This particular model is refueled by ink cartridges. It had also a double ink cartridge system, And this Aurora 88, or the model Aurora 88, was sold in Italy in great numbers. You could say that this fountain pen is the best sold fountain pen in Italy. So Aurora 888P, let's leave this aside and let's move on to another product of the 1950s, early 1950s. You can see the resemblance to a Parker 51 model. This time we have a opened nib and interesting imprinted with the name of the products. It's Stillus 585. This fountain pen is quite a famous fountain pen, also from the Settino Torinese area. I like the shape of the windows. As I told you, it has many influences from the American 51 model, but also from Italian trends. Okay, let's put this aside and let's move on to the 1950s. And I have for you these three fountain pens, beautifully made. And we are talking about three magical fountain pens made also in the Settino Torinese area. These are the fountain pens called Maryland. They all have the same filling mechanism, and I want to insist on the filling mechanism. I will simply show you the filling mechanism. And voila, this is a syringe filler system. And those fountain pens are made in the beautiful celluloid material. One, it has imprinted on the nib, warranted Wing Flow USA, which means that the Italians were quite good. All the fountain pens are made by Maryland in the 1960s. We have the same shape. The last Italian fountain pen that I want to show you, it's another beautiful Aurora. This time we have this beautiful roll gold Aurora. Okay, I will leave also this aside. Let's look a bit at them. You can see the beauty of those fountain pens. The Italians show us that they can make a good job. Thank you for your time. I hope you've enjoyed this little journey through Italian fun. If you've enjoyed my review, please subscribe to my channel for new interesting content. Okay, thank you again and have a nice day. Bye bye.